Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Prep Talk Live, episode 19. We made it. We're here. You know what? We weren't sure this was going to happen today. I feel like we say that every week. We're not really sure. This is the podcast that may or may not ever happen. But we are here. We are live. It is Wednesday at 5:30-ish. Like, that's close enough. I'm Casey with Cascadia Dispatch. And always, our 99% of the time with me is the Urban Prepper. What's up, Tup? How are you? How are things?
Good. Things are going good. Sorry for running a couple minutes behind. I was in a meeting, and it was. They put it in the calendar 5 to 5:30. I'm like, oh no,
That's right. I was afraid you were having like another tooth emergency or
no,
something. I was like, oh, his teeth are falling out again. This is going to be a problem.
No, I put in my dentures for this stream. Things are going good overall. So busy. Not enough hours in the day. I need like 2 to 3 more hours each day. To really make things work. But so I'm trying my best.
Yeah, that seems to be the theme, which is part of why the impetus of this whole experiment called Prep Talk Live was, hey, we do not have time to do a whole lot more. So what if we just showed up with our smiling selves, the bad boys of prepping, and just let it ride?
Yes.
And here we are. We have made it. Good morning from Japan. I see.
Oh, Japan, nice.
Yeah, Titus Tuttle. Okay, it's W. Titus Tuttle is a hyphenate because I always want to say Titus Tuttle, where Titus is his first name, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's W. Titus Tuttle is a last name. Pony Girl is here.
Good. Now we can get started now. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what, Pony Girl, we are here to play today. We weren't sure if we were both going to be here to play. I was kind of like, I have gotten in the mode now where if for some reason, we're not like, we're going and making it happen. Yeah. I'll talk about my broken chickens or whatever. Like, we'll come up with something and we'll make it work. But I see Pony Girl's in both chats. She's nice. Everywhere. She's in your chat and in my chat.
Pony Girl may be AI. We're not sure yet.
You know what? She might be some sort of like a being. Exactly. She's one of those new Tesla,
the sentient prepper,
like Transformer Autobot things or something like that. So, how was your week? What have you been up to? What prepping related projects have you been doing this week?
A lot of the same. Besides like I won't count like doing working on video type stuff because that's always ongoing. The boring stuff, the food, water, propane. It's getting around summertime, so now it's kind of the time that I like getting on my propane and the backup propane all set up. But knowing that it might, hopefully I don't have to use it for an actual emergency or grid down thing, but it could just be used for the barbecue season. But getting that all in line, and then also like, man, so like if the grocery things keep going up and up, it's harder to find meats, which is
I just have to say, and maybe this is also a question for Pony Girl, anyone in the chat, but did anyone else have one of those Clark Kent Superman moments here where Tup took off of his glasses and I wasn't sure that it was him?
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, who is this imposter?
Yeah, I could go without glasses if you want. But
this whole gray man thing could really work out for you if you just took the glasses off. Then no one would recognize you. Like if you took the hat off too, and an apocalypse, like
when I'm out and about, I wear my street clothes and no one would recognize me. So
at some point, if you get like LASIK or something and you didn't need your glasses, you would still have to wear them.
Well, it's part of my brand. It's part of the branding.
Yeah, it is. It works out really well. Yeah. So you've got more propane than you know what to do with.
Well, I'm working on it. So and then it's like a matter of like, okay, the best place to storage. I'm trying to improve that, and then we did some more garden shopping, or getting ready for gardening season. So that's kind of like 'tis the season, I guess.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, the garden has been calling me, but the rain has been happening quite a bit in the Portland area over the last couple of weeks. So I keep saying every week, like, okay, this is the week we're going to start putting seeds in the ground. This is the week. And it just has not happened yet. So maybe this weekend will be the weekend that we get some of at least the cooler one. Like I want to get the peas and the beans and all of that stuff started. And then, I'm kind of going back and forth on my tomato plans this year. Because usually I start, we're going on fun. And tangent number one of the evening, tomatoes. So oftentimes I would start mine in like a little seedling greenhouse. Do you start your tomatoes from seeds, or do you buy them as starters?
I get the starts. So,
Nice, nice.
but for my sister-in-law, let's see, sister-in-law, yeah, sister-in-law, she does starts from seeds, and so we I think we're going to be picking up a couple of her. She's super big into tomatoes, and I think we're picking up a couple of her starts too. I don't, but so I'm
Yeah.
working with a couple different vendors.
Okay. All right. You know what? You're diversifying your
Yeah,
supply chains is what
yeah,
you're
yeah.
doing right
That's
now.
exactly.
Yeah. It's- so I've often like I did them from starts for a while, and then I decided I want to try them from seeds. So we do the little seedlings in the little seedling greenhouse, which is fantastic. Except I often have trouble like when I move them from the seedling greenhouse to the beds, they don't sometimes they work out and sometimes they don't.
Yeah,
And so I tend to put like extra seeds just in the ground next to them. And those tend to do really well, which they shouldn't because of the climate. So I'm tempted this year to just skip the seedling greenhouse and go directly to just putting the seeds in the ground and see what happens.
yeah. I think it's fun. I do some experiments myself. I was talking with the digital prepper and prepping with Sarge on Friday, and I had this one container that I didn't harvest the potatoes. I'm like, oh, I wonder what will happen if I just leave that there, and so and see what happens. So it's like it's doing stuff. So I'm curious on what comes out of it. It might be a complete disaster, or maybe like
They're mutant potatoes.
Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors. You don't know.
It's going to be those things in Harry Potter where you like pull them out of the pot and they scream.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I think it'll be something
Super
like that.
Mario 2. Yeah, okay.
Pony Girl with the suggestion to plant the seeds in the containers for starts.
Mm.
So yeah, so that's kind of what I do. Most of my garden actually is containers. They're big metal
Yeah.
containers, but it's all
Yeah, we
kind of
do a lot of.
containers
Well, it's
to
nice because you can move them if you need to evacuate. You could bring your pots with you if you really wanted to.
to evacuate.
Your bug out vehicle is like
Exactly.
a flatbed
With
truck.
15 like potter, yeah, that would be fantastic.
No water,
Love that idea.
no tactical supplies. It's just containers.
Exactly. It's just hundreds of pounds of dirt and 14 tomato plants.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That would be fantastic. So yeah, so I'm thinking about I'm gonna test that out. I think maybe we'll see I might do one container with the starts and one with just the seeds and see what happens. But
And I am noticing that in the comment section that some of the folks are talking about their grocery stores and stuff. And yeah, it's a I it sounds like other people are experiencing similar things.
yeah,
The fresh meats is what I've been noticing locally. Is it's either super expensive or just non-existent. So hopefully
yeah,
it's not a trend that continues, but we'll see.
which is an interesting thing. Are you seeing that more at the chain, like larger chain grocery stores or
Yeah, I
local?
yeah, actually, I have more luck getting some of those like if I can't get it at like a Fred Meyer, if I go to Whole Foods for whatever reason, it's there, and sometimes it's even cheaper. It's weird.
Yeah.
So Whole Foods is now. It used to be Whole Paycheck. Now it's like
So
uh,
I was gonna.
yeah,
That's what I was thinking was. So we actually have a Whole Foods that opened up fairly close to our house, and because of food allergies we have with the kids and everything, we've just been shopping there pretty much most of our time in the I'd say probably the last 7 or 8 years, whether
mhm,
we wanted to or not. Like it was the only place that we could get certain allergy-free foods and everything, and so we just bit the bullet and did it. But the interesting thing is when the shortages started to happen, I found that Whole Foods would have better meat selection
yeah,
than Safeway or Fred Meyer. And I asked them, I'm like, what's going on? And they were like, well, they actually work with local farmers a lot of time, local ranchers, local meat
mm,
processing versus the big chains because their whole thing is local and organic and all of that sort of stuff. So they have
yeah.
a lot more local, which made sense to me. And I was like, oh, okay, that is great. So
Well, that makes
um,
sense. Yeah, that's a no, yeah. I'll keep that in mind. That there, and I think others should too. Like if you're having trouble finding some meats, and if you typically don't go to Whole Foods, you might want to consider it for certain
yeah,
items because of the getting them locally. So,
or like
but
a
yeah,
local
chicken
independent.
driving me crazy on how much like the chickens cost lately. It's like
Oh yeah.
$7 up for like a pound or something, or for a breast of chicken. And like if I got a four pack of breast meat, it'd be like $24 or something. I'm like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah, and that's one of those that's we started getting the whole chickens and
Yeah,
doing those
yeah, that's yeah,
just because not because it was but like we got a smoker and we were like, oh hey, we should test this out, and then we figured out how easy it was to take like one of those whole chickens that they have and put it in there. And my wife and my son like the dark meat and my daughter and I like the white meat, so it divides up really nicely and that's easy.
Cool.
Um,
Yeah, and the whole chickens, they freeze. They can last in the freezer for a while too. So you could, if you really wanted to, you could stock up on whole chickens and for chicken soups and stuff, which is what we do in our freezers. We're actually looking at we're coordinating with my in-laws on buying a cow, or not a lot,
yeah,
uh, getting a processed cow and filling up the freezer. So we're that's one of the things we're working on, and we're trying to barter on the different cuts and everything like that. So
are you gonna like feed the cow on the mutant potatoes that you're making,
yeah, I
or
might
like?
need to do that. So the cow, yeah, it'd be from a local place, so that the cow may have a name too, and we'll be sure to honor the cow. So
Oh well, that's lovely. Yes, we have a friend that actually moved out to Bend last year, 2 years ago, um, and they're starting a farm, and so they're going to
cool.
do some cattle and stuff, and so we're waiting to talk to them about when they're going to have the cows, and we can get like a half a cow or a whole cow or something like that.
Yeah,
Um, it's a
yeah,
great,
it's
especially
kind
if
of.
you have a freezer that you can hold it in.
Yeah, we do have a freezer in the garage. It's just we bought a lot of the stuff at the start of COVID, and a lot of that's like I'd like to get it out of there and get some more meats in there, because that's what
Yeah,
I
get some
that's
fresh stuff in there.
well, yeah,
Not
and that's like if I'm thinking of I know this is off topic, but
That's okay. We never ever stay on topic.
yeah,
That's our charm. Our charm is we have no topics.
yeah, I have a lot of like the 2020 COVID, early COVID type frozen stuff, and there's some of it I want to trade out. I'd rather have some proteins and stuff. So
The limited edition 2020 COVID
yeah,
edition.
like we got, because during like that, like when there was like the shortages and stuff, and when the shelves were really bare, like the shelves were bare, but usually the frozen sections were pretty good, and so
Yeah,
so we took advantage of that at the time. But
yeah. We were going through. I don't know what is happening here. Apparently, Pony Girl is also a mutant potato cow now. She's a pony girl. She's a mutant potato
well, I
pony
think
girl
if we
cow.
if
I
we fed
think
the cow the mutant potato, then it would transform the cow into something special, I think.
that's fantastic. I
Yeah.
love that. Um, yeah, we were going through and finding like all of the because we had a bunch of like Clorox wipes that we got because they kept going out and it was limit one and everything, and so it was like okay, we'd grab them and then we would ration them, and so we've built up a supply.
Hmm.
And my wife was saying, like, why we don't need any more of these? Why do we have so many of these? And I was like, because when we were getting them, we didn't think there would be any more available ever. Like we
Yeah.
didn't know what was happening. And now we have a better idea. So you can kind of work through some of that stuff. But
Yeah, we have a lot of a lot of isopropyl alcohol right now, and we're trying to figure, what do we do all this with those isopropyl alcohols?
don't you make the penny can stoves that you did the YouTube thing and got like 1 million views on?
Well, I not on YouTube, on TikTok it got 1 million views. So
You should do like the Bellagio fountains, but with penny can stoves and like
oh,
alternate them at different levels and do like a little penny can light show.
yeah, I like the penny cans, but I think I like the cat. Let me grab it really quick. I'm going off camera. One second.
Okay, all right.
Here we
We've
go.
lost Hup. He's still there.
The cat food can ones are I like better than the penny can stuff. So, and they're a
Very
little
nice.
funner to make, a little smaller. You don't have to worry about them exploding or anything like that. And
You don't
yeah,
want in an apocalypse to have your food explode on you. That would not be a good plan.
yeah, so I did the penny can stove, and that one had like over 1 million views on TikTok, and it did well. And then I came right back with an equal. I thought it was equally as good on the cat food can. No one liked it.
Everyone was like, "Look, we saw this last
Boo,
week.
we've seen this.
Give us something new, Pepper Man.
Yeah,
Give us something new."
not impressed anymore.
That's fantastic. All right. Well, because we're not on a huge time crunch, but we do have a bit of a
Yeah, a
time
little bit
constraint this evening.
some track practice for my
Yeah.
son, and of course Boy Scouts and stuff. So
Well, of course, all of the most important of the activities that we want the children to be involved in. Let's talk about show and tell time.
okay, cool.
Wait a minute, I hit the wrong graphic here, but you can't see because I have the chat up, so it doesn't matter. All right, you want to go first?
Sure. I was looking at a couple of the comments really quick to see another interesting video on backup power solar. Let's see. It caught my attention because I'm shopping for camping power. So, funny that you mentioned that, James. So that was actually my show and tell item. Was
Oh,
oftentimes like in our preps we have like the anchor power cells and stuff that I like keeping in all of my bags, basically for keeping your cell phone charged, because I think that's super important for, especially both for EDC and for grid down stuff. But a problem with a lot of the anchor power banks is that they don't have pass through charging, so you can't charge the battery, and then have that having the battery charge your phone at the same time. And
Mhm.
so one of the brands that actually does that is it's a Voltaic is the brand. So and I think it's a good option to include in your bug out bags because you could hook it to a solar panel. And like, let's say that you had where am I? Got so much stuff over here. You wanted to have
Sorry,
something
no one's
going.
paying attention. Everyone's pulling up their Amazon browser right now to
Okay,
see, like, to begin the search for this thing.
Voltaic. Yeah, so it's the Voltaic power bank, and with the solar panel, it's also made by Voltaic. But basically, you could set up if you wanted to have a little node relays for like a mesh network, if you're into comms type stuff with the GoTenna meshes, it works really great for. But basically, you could have your power bank, your solar panel, and you could have a pass-through power charger like the Voltaic one, and then you could have that charging your electronic device, and so you're getting constant charge through of it, pass-through charging, and then when the sun's down, this will still be a full charge, and that's something you don't get with most
Oh,
with the anchor. So with the
that's
anchors,
very
you have to
interesting.
charge it, you fill it up, and then you could connect that to your cell phone. With the Voltaic ones, you could actually do pass-through charging. So while you're charging the power bank, you could also charge the device that's connected to that power bank.
You
And I
come
think it's
up
a
with
pretty cool one if
you
anyone
come
needs
up
it.
with fantastic ideas.
So
What's the price difference?
it's
Like,
expensive. it's a This is a smaller one. What is
so it's a bougie prep and not a budget prep.
It is a bougie prep, but I think for smaller electronics, it works out really well. I've used it for the GoTenna meshes because I like having like a mesh network for comms within the neighborhood, and so you could set up what I've done is like set up little plastic boxes that have the device stored in there as charging it, and then it just could always be charging, so you could just have it going uh, all the time, 24. You could just leave it there, and if it was in a really grid down situation, you could have a few of these set up, and you could have a mesh network of your neighborhood that's just constantly charging, and it's using that pass through charging to keep the electronic devices charged.
And
So
if you would like a GoTenna charging pass-through mesh system, check
yeah,
out Craigslist for all the neighbors in Tup's neighborhood who have put their little boxes
yes,
up.
I have a little operation going. I don't share everything on YouTube, but I think they're pretty handy, and I was just kind of thinking about that lately as far as a power banks
Do you
because
put
that's
little Tup stickers, like the face stickers,
I
on
thought
them so people know?
my first one I did, but then I'm like, well, that's voiding OPSEC, so that now they're just discrete. But I put sometimes I put like a geocache sticker or something to make it look like it's just a geocache. So
Yeah. Well, that is fantastic. James, thank you for the question. I know James. James is one of my friends, so I appreciate
hello,
James
James.
watching. I appreciate him throwing. He was talking about CPAPs.
Yep.
I have not seen City Preppers video, but we use the Goal Zeros.
Yeah.
Those work really well, especially for camping. If you're thinking about for camping and a CPAP, a Goal Zero like a 400 or more will get you through the night pretty easily. You might want to test it though, depending on if you're using the heating and humidity function. I don't use the heat or humidity, and my wife thinks that I'm some sort of a mutant because that happens. I just feel like I'm drowning when I do it. She has to have the heat and humidity piece, so hers drains a lot faster than mine does.
Yeah.
Side
I
note: you can also get the travel ones, and those use a whole lot less power as well.
Yeah, and I use the Jackery 500 for my because my CPAP, and it works really great for that. But that too, I don't think it does supports pass through charging. So
Yeah.
which is
I did see Anchor came out with a new like brick style charging thing. It's all over my Facebook, and it's like two handles, and it's I think it's lithium iron, whatever the LIFO abbreviation is. It's supposed to be more power than a Jackery and more cycle time or something.
cool.
So we have to check it out and see what's going on.
I have a video on mine, so I'll put my setup there. There it is. I sent the link.
There you go. Very nice. Very nice. I have no links to my power stuff because I haven't done a video on power yet. I just
Oh.
talk about it occasionally and buy things.
What did you bring?
What did I bring? Thank you for asking. I'd love to
Yeah.
tell you. So I brought two things. One is a variation on something I saw on your channel. Is the little so you had these as little LED sticks for
Vehicle
traveling.
preps. Yeah.
And we are planning all of our summer trips. And it seems like there may be actually quite a few of them this summer. So we're going to have lots of travel content, apparently. But these are LEDs and they're disc shaped. And when you turn them on,
Yep.
they do little, I don't know how that's coming across, but they have like red lights that you could like set down kind of like a flare. And then there's like a flashlight thing. It's supposed to, oh yeah, it does a little siren thing. It's very exciting. It's like a GIF from the 90s. It just, goes bananas. And then it does it's some alerting. I don't know what's happened. I just keep pushing the button and hopefully something will stop it at one point. If I hold it down, there we go. What I like about these is it has like a hook, so you could hang it from inside of the car if you wanted to. The sticks that you have, I also have those, and those are already in the cars. These are kind of the next edition. But there's a magnet on the back, so you can stick it to the car if you need to. You stick it on the hood. You could put them, down, get 6 or so of them and put them on the street. So I kind of like these. They're a little bit different than the sticks. And so you could kind of use them both. They come in a handy little tube bag here, so you can kind of keep them all together. They don't take up a lot of space. They seem to last for a really long time. So that was one thing. And then speaking of power, this is not a whole prep, but it was something that I saw and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. So it's a plug-in adapter for the all of the things that take the cigarette lighter charging that normally I always think about this for like our air compressor that we use to pump up like air mattresses and things that you always are looking for. It's got the car adapter, so you have to go out to the car or you have to do something. And so this allows you, whether you're camping or whether you're at home or whatever, to actually just attach this. So this is one of those things that I keep in kind of a little tub of random connectors and plugs and modules and things like that, adapters for that sort of stuff. So that's another
awesome.
Little cool thing that I like.
Yeah, I like that.
So Miles thought your thing was a flip phone.
Is what a flip phone? Oh,
which
I missed the flip phones. I missed the flip phone days.
Apparent. We got Pigs Fly is here. We got all kinds of people here. There we go. Yeah. We got the people coming in. Yeah. The Chef Boyardee on sale. Fantastic plan. Whenever there's a sale, stock up.
Yeah, sometimes I go to the store, and if there's something like $1, if it's like $1, per can of whatever it is, usually even if I don't need it, I'll pick it up. So,
yeah, I realize we're running low on black beans, which is amazing because you had like 6 cases the other day, and we just go through them all the time.
I get my black beans from Trader Joe's. I like the Caribbean style ones. I think are good, but
because a little seasoning. Seasoning. You're like, hey, you know what? It's the apocalypse. A little seasoning might be.
It's about $1 a can, from what I remember, and unless it's changed recently.
10 cents for the beans and 90 cents for the seasoning.
Exactly. I see someone talking about bread in the freezer. Yeah, I keep a supply of bread in the freezer because I don't want to have to go full prepper right away and start baking my own bread because I'm not that good at it yet. But, and it's not as it might not rise or all those kind of things. So
I got a brick of yeast because they were like, you couldn't find them. And I was like, I don't know where this is going, but I feel like if we need a brick of yeast, we should have one. So I have one, but if it came to actually like baking bread, I would be in a world of hurt.
Yeah, I could do it, but I mean, other people are really good at it. So there's oftentimes like almost with everything prepping related, like there's someone that's really, really good at it. It makes you like, it kind of deflates your self-esteem. So someone's really good at it.
Welcome to every time I enter this podcast. I'm like, well, I'm going to talk about my light thing that Cliff did a video about 4 years ago. It's got 7 different versions of it, but mine are round. So that works.
I have a we used to use I don't know why I'm saying this, but it reminded me of we had some similar lights like when I was growing up as a kid, and I remember scaring my dad and putting them outside, and so it looked like all these red lights, or actually they were green lights at the time, so it looked like some UFO was in the backyard, and I had an alien mask, and I jumped out when he came out to investigate what these green lights were. It was so funny. But he was ticked off afterwards. So. Yeah. I don't know why I thought about that, but
that is the true story of why Cliff wears the hat, is to just cover up the dent from what his father.
Yeah, he's in trouble.
Yeah, and yes, Pony Girl, Cliff is very spicy. You wouldn't expect it, but he's muy caliente.
Yeah.
All right,
what
so
do you,
should we talk about our topic?
yeah, the topic, gold,
I
silver,
love
vodka.
gold. That was a really bad version of Austin Powers, but you know what? You get what you pay for on our free
Yeah,
podcast
yeah,
here that we have.
it's
The reason this came up for me today, and I thought would be an interesting topic, is we've kind of mentioned bartering a bit here and there, but I saw a bunch of apps in the last, I don't know, probably week or so, on buying gold and silver in usually if you want to buy gold and silver, you actually have to go and buy, an ounce or physical ounce. There's a service called Acre where you can send them money, and then at a certain point they send you, I think it's 5 grams at a time,
mhm.
of gold, or I think silver, they do that too. Or there are lots of people, like if they're investing in it, they might buy like an ETF to try to play the value of gold. And it's this really interesting thing I found of the utility of having the metal, or vodka or anything else, and the people that are trying to invest in it and play the fluctuation of the pricing. And I saw these apps that I think I'm going to do some investigation in and maybe do a video on, where you actually can put money in and purchase the physical gold or silver, and it's actually stored in a vault.
Hmm.
It's separately divided and everything in a vault, and then if you want to, they have partners that you could then redeem for actual. So it's kind of like, I think, the best of kind of the investment model of playing the price, dollar cost averaging in, and then also being able to redeem for the actual gold. So if the price of gold goes up or down, you don't totally lose out while you're waiting to, for example, buy a full ounce or something like that.
Yeah.
So that was kind of where my head was going. I was like, we haven't really had a conversation about like bartering and stuff, because gold and silver is, crypto things that people talk about, but things like vodka, cigarettes, other things, like how, what are some ideas and things that we have that we kind of keep on hand in case of a bartering situation, or for like an alternative currency method or that sort of stuff. If we can't use dollars for whatever reason, or a credit card, like what do we do?
Yeah, I think it's very popular in the preparedness community to talk about, precious metals. Everyone's talking about that and getting junk silver and stuff for
Mhm.
trading. But as the years have gone on, I feel that I kind of feel that gold and silver is like, I don't think it's good for bartering. It's good for retaining wealth, like if there's a big crash. But
Mhm.
like, there's a lot of videos on YouTube. You can just search where people go around. Hey, I'll give you $20, or I'll give you this gold coin. Hey, you can have whatever one you want. They always take the $20 because they don't know the value of a gold coin. And I think that same would happen with silver too. So I think that if you were to do the same experiment, that might be a fun video. Like, hey, do you want this bottle of bourbon, or do you want this silver coin? I think they're going to take the
Mhm.
bottle of bourbon
That is an
or vodka.
interesting thing. I mean, I
Uh,
guess depending on what kind of bourbon it is.
yeah, well, I think they take anything. Like, especially like, when we're talking prohibition, like the Great Depression area, I think people just wanted to drink, and
Yeah.
and so and I think it's like, people that'll have some kind of value with them. And with the, by the way, with the saving gold and silver, if it's not in my hand, I don't trust it. So
Yeah.
I used to do some of the ones where I had it like in kind of worth. I gave them money, and then at a certain point they sent it to me. But now I wanted it. I want to buy it, and I want it in my hand, and then it goes in the safe, and then I know it's mine.
Yeah.
After through all the years, I think that having uh 20 bottles of Jack Daniels would be better than having 20 silver coins. American Eagles or Maple Leafs or anything like that. Because just
Yeah.
most normal people, I just don't think get like what the value is of precious metals. So
Yeah. Which is an interesting thing, because it's always like, that's the first thing. It's like gold, silver, water, toilet paper. There's a couple of things that I think people tend to think about when it comes to like an emergency situation. But I think it's an interesting point of, if you actually went up and asked someone like, here is a silver American Eagle,
yeah,
or a bottle of $5 vodka or something,
yeah,
like,
you could
which
get
would you pick?
bottom shelf, and they'd probably take the bottom shelf, like the J&J or whatever it is. I don't think that like cigarettes are. Well, I think they would have value immediately. They don't have as long of a shelf life, I don't think. So
Yeah.
I think if you're rolling your own, I think technically, I'm not a cigarette. I don't smoke, so but I think if you're rolling your own, you could technically store it in the freezer to last a little longer. But like a bottle of alcohol, you could technically have, indefinitely.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a better for preppers to have. So I think it'd be a good idea, like if you're ever in like Wyoming or some place that has like cheap alcohol, to buy a couple cases of like Jack Daniels or some vodka or something like that, and then that's your barter stuff. And I think it'll have value, and people will see the value in it more than they will a silver coin or a gold coin for sure. Like there's a ton of videos out there on YouTube where people going around with a gold coin and or like cash.
Who are these people, and why can they not offer me a gold coin?
Yeah.
I would take the gold. You know what?
Now, most
I
of the
would
time,
take the gold.
and most of the time that they do that, it's in like on the beaches of California, and people like, I think if you did it on like in Montana, people would know what the gold coins were worth.
Yeah.
There's probably more preppers there, but on the beaches of California, not that many preppers.
Which is actually, again, you bring up an excellent point that I hadn't thought about, which is that we are going to Montana at some point this summer, and I should probably go to a liquor store while I'm there.
Yeah, that's what we go to. When we went to Wyoming to Yellowstone, and while we were there, I'm like, hey, let's pick up some booze while we're here. And
yeah, exactly.
Actually, I pick up some when we're going to Oregon in the summer. I think be passing through your territory, and I'm picking up some stuff while I'm there too.
We're having a meeting still to decide if we're allowing it or not. There's a whole visa process to come in here.
I have to put the cover letter on my TPS report and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. There's a list of things, and
yeah, someone mentioned coffee as a barter item. I think that's good too, but it's kind of the same as cigarettes, or it doesn't last forever. So
yeah,
like if I want a barter, I want it to last like years and years without having. But coffee. Yeah. I think a lot of people would go through caffeine crashes if we were really talking grid down. So if you had a way of storing coffee long term, like I have some instant coffee, because if you store instant coffee in the freezer, it basically lasts indefinitely, but it's not as good. But I think beggars won't be choosers.
Yeah, nothing good or nothing. Like I think they take that.
Yeah, so that's what we do. Is I have a whole shelf in our freezer that's just instant coffee that I've never drank ever, but if I had to, it could be used for barter purposes.
I love that your freezer is like 90% like this, like coffee, beef, all of these things, and then there's maybe like one box of popsicles for the kids.
Yeah,
like
they have a section in there. They do.
Yeah. Kids, you can't even get the whole box of popsicles. We have to get the box of popsicles, and then we just take 2 of the popsicles out and we put those in the freezer, and the rest of them just go back to the store because we have coffee to maintain.
What are your thoughts?
So one of the things that has been troubling for me, I like the idea of the alcohol thing. I haven't figured out. So I don't drink a ton. Just not my thing. I'm like, it's just not like every once in a while, but like I am not. It has never been like I don't like the taste of it as much. Or let me put it to you this way. I prefer the fruitiest, sugariest version of alcohol and coffee. Mm-hmm. And my wife is the complete opposite. So she wants black coffee, and I want like a frappuccino with whipped cream. And my wife wants like bourbon in a glass, and I want like a cosmopolitan with extra simple syrup because I don't even want it. Like, we are that thing. So we don't often have a lot of alcohol in our house. We have friends that are wine drinkers, and when you come to Oregon, if you are a wine person, there's lots of wineries that I can recommend to you now because we go with them all over the place. I am the designated driver because I don't love the wine. But as far as from a barter perspective, I think there's a lot of value in it. So trying to figure out like, okay, do we get the little bottles? Do you get medium-sized bottles? You get big bottles? Like what is from a storage and maintenance and all of that perspective? That's one thing that I've been thinking about. And then the other thing is from the like, Titus, or I'm just going to call you Titus Tuttle because it's W. Titus Tuttle, and I just think of Titus O'Neil from WWE, and it's a whole thing. So fractional gold is a great idea so that you're not wasting it. And so I've got those combi bars that Canadian Prepper did a video on, where it's an ounce of gold, but it breaks into 10th ounces, or you can do silver or whatever. I think those are great for that. My thing is trying to buy gold, whether you're going to have it as a store of value or whatever, the premium, the amount over the spot price of gold that you pay goes way up the smaller you go. So if you buy a 10th of an ounce, it's a much more affordable dollar amount, but 25% of that might be in premium, as opposed to if you buy a full ounce, it may be 4% is the premium on whatever it is that you're buying. So I've been trying to figure out like what's the most economic way to accumulate some of these things, kind of like getting them on sale. But with some of these things, you can't really get them on sale because they're commodities and they go up and down with price fluctuations and things like that.
Yeah, I use the American Precious Metals Exchange.com, the AppMex.
Yep.
And I've been doing the little gram gold things, but again, like that's more for me. I'm not planning on bartering. I guess technically you could, but again, I just don't think that people know the value of precious metals, so it's harder.
Yeah.
I think it's what I personally do is I think that if you could save up for the 1 ounce gold ones, like those gold coins, they're good, because once you start going to like quarter denominations or 1/10, you're spending more than what it's not a good exchange rate. So for me personally, I do American for the silver. I do the American Eagles, or I do the Canadian Maple Leafs, and then same with gold. And sometimes with the gold, I again do the little smaller gram bars, but still, I don't think that they'd be good barter items. So, and I have a lot of Bic lighters, and I don't smoke, but I use it for prepping stuff. So I think the same is going to be for you. Like, if you don't drink that much, but
exactly.
I think if you got a case of Jack Daniels, I think you'd be good.
A case of Jack and a case of Bic lighters, and we'll
you'll be set.
Yeah. Exactly.
And a case of instant coffee.
Exactly. And 38 ounces of gold that no one cares about. That would be bad. That would be a whole different thing. All right. So I think as much as I would like to continue and keep diving in here and everything else, you have to go to track practice. So I think tonight we need to.
Do we want to do a couple little questions really quick?
See, again, I try to be nice and honor your schedule, and you make me look like a schmuck that just wants to end this thing. I'm like, I'll go till 7, 8 o'clock. I don't care. But you're like, oh, I have to cut it off early. And then I'm like, hey.
Has anyone in the preparedness community done that, like a marathon live stream where it's just go until you get to a certain amount of something? Like, I don't.
Oh my goodness, we totally should. We should absolutely do that. We may need to get some other people involved too. I've seen like on Twitch they do the like 12-hour subathons and things like that. But they tend to bring people in, and so we could do something like that.
Yeah, I think there's not a lot of preppers on Twitch though. I'm finding. So.
No. But we do it on YouTube. But we would do it in a similar thing where it's like, okay, we're gonna do a 6-hour stream, but we're gonna bring in Rogue for a half an hour, and we'll bring in City Prepper for half an hour, and Ready for a half an hour. Like, we'll just bring everybody in.
I don't think that's ever been done before, but it might be, at least in the preparedness community. But I think it'd be cool.
I feel like if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be the bad boys of prepping, right?
Yeah,
we're just breaking all the rules.
The best podcast in our price range. So
the best podcast in our price range.
Yeah, so that's we make dozens of dollars,
literally tens of cents is what happens. Okay. How is inflation affecting your prep plans?
It's affecting my grocery, that's for sure. Like, that's where I'm. And then I think also like just the gas prices are just killing me lately, because we have 2 vehicles. I have mine that I take for work and stuff, and my wife has the one that's going around. And man, it's, every time we go there, it's like spending $80-something, like 2 vehicles every week. It seems like it's expensive. So.
Have you guys gone hybrid at all with either of the vehicles?
Not yet, because they're both paid off, and I don't want to. Yeah. I'd rather like save up and just get another one, just pay for it outright. But yeah, I think that we probably would, or at least I would on my vehicle, because I do a lot of driving around the state, and so having like a hybrid, or if I could, I'd get like some kind of Tesla or whatever. But we don't currently. We have a Honda Pilot, and that one, it's a big gas tank, and it's expensive to fill up. So that one's been hurting. And then the meats have been hurting for like home cooking. It's again, it's kind of weird, because all like the healthy, if you want to be on keto or something like that, it's hard to be on keto now. Like, it's expensive, but you could go back to eating junk food and crap, and
exactly,
and that's still pretty affordable. So
it's very affordable. You can also spend
probably by design.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so yeah, you could you eat all the crap food, and like cereal, like you could still get Captain Crunch for the same price that you could at any time. And
Yeah.
junk food and candy bars. They haven't gone up through inflation, but meats have and other things have. So and then that increases then you go to the hospital a little more often for bad waistline and stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen it a lot in like not as many deals. There's starting to be a little bit more, I think, as some inventory stuff is starting to get, and some of the supply chain stuff is starting to break apart a little bit more. That some of the stores are starting to do more deals and things. But for a long time, like you can find anything on sale. You can, and I like to do my preps on sale with coupons, discounted gift cards, like all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And now I'm finding that a lot of times I'm having to do those things to get to the price where it was 6 months or a year ago. That it's a 10% off gets me to where I was, and I have to get even more creative to try to get, some sort of a deal off of that. But
yeah. So I think it's hurting. I mean, it's us little people, like the non-billionaires and stuff like that. Yeah, the inflation stuff's definitely hurting, like the gas tank and in your grocery bills for sure. But yeah, so it makes you kind of spend less at other things. So
yeah, I think also we did a lot with like the business of looking at additional ways of trying to incorporate more things into the business, for additional write-offs and expenses and things like that. So that's another thing, for people that do have a side hustle or a business or something, even if it's a small business, of trying to look for ways, because you may not be able to, the price of whatever it is may not go down, but you might be able to get a deduction, something like that. Those are my like little hobbies. They're always trying to find different tax deductions and things like that. So.
Yeah, I think in the preparedness community, I think we're, as a whole, that we should probably be a lot more conscious than we were 5 years ago with what products that we're recommending for people to buy. Maybe it's not the best idea to recommend some $1,200 solar panel thing or something like that when it might be better to get $1,200 worth of food. So I think as a community, I think that we should. I think we're probably going to have to move more towards that direction, to be more the cost of things in mind with it, because oftentimes we're just, this backpack's awesome, it's $500 by the way, so or here's a new knife.
Are you saying bougie preps are out of style? Is that what's happening?
Bougie preps are so 2018.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed Cascadia Dispatch. We're going to be closing the channel now because bougie preps are dead.
Yeah. I'm talking more of like the super expensive, like more than $500 type things, or I think there's something too, though, in thinking about some of those more as an investment than, like, I think there are lots of times that we recommend, like, oh, there's this thing on Amazon that's $20 or whatever, and it may work once or twice or whatever, and the quality may not be there or something, because it seems like it's a good idea, where it's inexpensive enough that it doesn't matter if it only works a couple of times. You only need it to work a couple of times. And so looking at maybe more like, okay, if you're going to get something, do you get a nicer flashlight? Do you get a nicer knife or multi-tool or something for the quality? And it's going to cost a little bit more, but you're not going to have to spend for those type of items. I do think getting something that lasts is good, especially if it's something in your EDC that's going to be used regularly. If it's something that's in some bug out bag, I could see going with something more inexpensive, because you might not ever use your bug out bag, but you're definitely going to use your EDC items. So.
Yeah, 100%.
Someone said, "Don't believe Cliff. We love your fancy uppity stuff. Honest." So
yeah. Okay. This, you know what? I'm making a shirt about that. That's fantastic.
Pony Girl always has the best. It's the best comments on the internet. So
Pony Girl is fantastic,
and I don't think I've ever seen uppity spelled out. That's awesome. So.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the technical spelling. And if it's not, I think we're lobbying for that to be the case.
Are we going to fact check her? Is it DY or TY? I don't know.
Pony Girl is one of our mods. I'm not fact checking her. I don't want to get banned.
I trust Pony Girl.
Yeah, exactly. Like what she says is,
true.
She's the mutant potato cow. I mean, we're not gonna mess with that. That's not a thing. All right.
Well, I should probably. I gotta take. Yeah, gonna have to. Oh, we have a deal. Sorry.
The deal is that it's like deal. Way past the time you said you were going to get out of here. I don't want Mom to be pissed.
You want to trade Jack Daniels for silver coins? What's going on?
Yeah,
here?
exactly. I think that's a fantastic idea.
Okay,
I think it's fantastic.
I think that'd be a fun video. Just go. It'd be like a man on the street type thing, like Jay Leno
Yeah.
used to do. Like, rarely get to do that anymore now. And in Washington, a lot of like the mask things are lifted, so you can actually see people when you're talking to them. So that might be a fun video.
That would be an interesting one, especially if you do like, yeah.
But I don't want to get arrested. Like, for, hey, you're giving out alcohol to people.
So that might be something you need to do with some friends, like have like a night and be like, all right, if I were to give you, but I guess so the question I would have is like, if I asked my friends, I think most of them would know the value of the bourbon and the value of the silver and would then make a determination based on that of like, I could go to the store and get it or something. You need, so like, I think depending on who you were asking in your circle, like is your circle knowledgeable enough to know that?
My circle is, so, but
Yeah, exactly.
I want to go outside of the circle and talk to strangers. I think would be the way to do it.
Yeah.
All the Seattleite people with their flannels and stuff and coffee and beards. So.
Yeah. Maybe it's like a poll or something. Maybe it's like, okay, we aren't going to give you the silver or the Jack Daniels, but if you had a choice between the two, which would be your preference?
Yeah, something
that would
like
be
that.
Interesting. All right, we'll think about that.
I saw why not. Thanks. Why not? Yeah. I think get canned meat every time you go, even if you don't eat it. Like, I don't think you could be over prepped with a lot of the food stuff, especially like they eat Spam that's like decades old. So
yeah, exactly.
I'd rather be over prepped in some of those food items and like the canned meats and stuff than like right now I'm over prepped on isopropyl alcohol and it's becoming a problem. But I wouldn't have that same concern with like a food type thing because it might 10 years from now maybe I'll be kicking myself for not getting more canned meat. So
yeah, also don't trade the silver for the isopropyl alcohol. Those are not.
That's a bad exchange rate.
Those are not a good thing.
Yeah, during the toilet paper, because someone said they wanted a poop joke. So
okay, well, sure. Paper. Like, look, your kid's not going to be able to run track, but hey, we got
he'll get kicked off the team. But during the toilet paper shortage, I had a friend that didn't have toilet paper, and I wasn't giving mine out. So, but she had an exchange rate with other people that had toilet paper where she would do a bottle of wine for 4 rolls of toilet paper, and that was her exchange rate that she had with folks. So I thought it was a pretty good deal because every bottle of wine is probably a glass. Every bottle you get you probably get 4 glasses in a bottle, so that's 4 rolls of toilet paper, and that's just kind of the rate that she did for at that time where no one could get toilet paper. So
exactly, which depending on where you live and everything else, that could have been the most expensive toilet paper you've ever gotten, and probably the most worthwhile toilet paper you've ever gotten.
Yeah, it's kind of a crappy situation, but it poop joke. Got it.
And with that exclamation mark,
sorry, that poop joke was a little corny. I'm sorry.
Gosh, we run it's really loose around here.
We did good. We did good for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
We're 48 minutes in and we finally got to it. So.
Yeah, we made it happen. Yeah, we had to hold off a little bit. It took a little bit of trial and error, but we made it work. So anyway, All right. Thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks for liking and subscribing. And if you haven't already, shame on you. Like and subscribe. We'll be back next week. I think is the plan. We're going to try to do that.
The first Wednesday in May, I'm going to have a conflict because it's around birth. It's a birthday, and I don't want to get in trouble. So,
all right. Well, that's the end of Prep Talk Live. I hope you enjoyed our run.
That's in May, though. That's in May.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, it'll be fine. All right. Well, thanks everybody. We will see you next week. Have a wonderful evening. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.